Ever feel like a ghost in a crowded room? You speak, but no one really hears you. You're there, but you feel completely invisible. This feeling isn't random, it's a signal. Most people go their whole lives ignoring it, never realizing the fifth blind spot is the one that sabotages everything else. Don't be one of them. Neutral expression. I want you to think about the last time you were in a meeting, or maybe just scrolling on your phone at a coffee shop. What was your face doing? Most of us would say, nothing, it was just neutral. But here's the fascinating and frankly terrifying truth that science tells us. There is no such thing as a neutral face to a brain that's not your own. Your neutral is someone else's first impression, and our brains are hardwired to interpret ambiguity as a threat. So that face you make when you're concentrating or listening intently or just lost in thought, to the people around you, it's not reading as neutral. It's often reading as bored, angry, skeptical, or judgmental. This is one of the biggest charisma blind spots because it happens before you even say a single word. You are sending out powerful social signals without even realizing it, and they might be the very signals that are making you invisible. People see that look and subconsciously decide, nope, not approachable, and they look right past you. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For thousands of years, our survival depended on our ability to quickly assess if a stranger was a friend or a foe. The brain developed a shortcut for this, happening in the amygdala, the emotional processing center. It takes less than a second to scan someone's face for cues of safety or danger. A slight downward turn of the mouth, a furrowed brow, a tightened jaw, these are micro-expressions that our ancestors associated with aggression or displeasure. Your thinking face might just be a combination of all three. You're not angry, you're just trying to remember if you locked the car. But the person across the room doesn't know that. Their brain just registered a warning signal and they're going to steer clear. This is how you end up feeling like a ghost at a networking event. You're standing there, ready to connect, but your own face is putting up a giant invisible do not disturb sign. It's a silent charisma killer. The good news is, once you're aware of this blind spot, you can do something about it. The fix is incredibly simple, but it requires conscious effort until it becomes a habit. It's about finding your warm, neutral, resting face. I want you to try this right now. Relax your jaw, let your tongue rest on the roof of your mouth. And now, think of something that brings you a tiny bit of joy. A sunny day, your favorite song, a cute puppy, and let the corners of your mouth turn up ever so slightly. Not a full smile, just a hint of one. This tiny adjustment completely transforms the signals you send. It takes your face from potentially threatening to open and approachable. It tells the brains of others, I'm safe, I'm friendly. It's a game changer. Practice this. Look at your face on your phone's camera when you think you're being neutral. You might be shocked at what you see. I realized my concentrating face looked like I was silently furious with my computer screen. Now, before I walk into a room or hop on a video call, I do a quick check. I relax my forehead, unclench my jaw, and activate that slight upward curve. This isn't about being fake, it's about aligning your outward expression with your internal intention. You want to connect. You want to be seen as open and friendly. This small tweak ensures that your face isn't accidentally betraying that goal before you've even had a chance to prove it. It's the first step to taking off the invisibility cloak. Verbal habits. Okay, so you've mastered your warm, neutral expression. You're sending all the right silent signals, but then you open your mouth. This is where the second major blind spot lives, your verbal habits. These are the autopilot patterns in our speech that we think are building connection, but are actually pushing people away. The most common one is something researchers call conversational narcissism. It sounds harsh, but we all do it. It's the tendency to turn the conversation back to ourselves. Someone says, I just got back from a trip to the mountains, and our immediate, well-intentioned response is, oh, I love the mountains. I went hiking last year and saw. We think we're relating, but what we're actually doing is hijacking their story. We've taken the spotlight off of them and put it squarely on ourselves. When this is your default pattern, people stop sharing with you. Why would they? They know their story is just a launch pad for yours. You become invisible as a confidant, as a good listener, because you're constantly making it about you. The flip side of the hijacker is the interrogator. This person is also well-intentioned. They know they're supposed to ask questions to show interest, but they ask the wrong kind. They fire off a series of rapid-fire, closed-ended questions. Did you have a good time? Was the weather nice? Did you fly or drive? Was the hotel okay? It feels less like a conversation and more like a deposition. The other person is just a dispenser of one-word answers. Yes, yes, flew, yes. There's no depth, no emotion, no connection. It's a verbal checklist. This habit, while meant to show engagement, actually signals a lack of genuine curiosity. It makes the other person feel like a project, not a person. And when people feel that way, they shut down. They give you the bare minimum and then look for an escape. You're not connecting, you're just collecting data. The antidote to both of these habits is to cultivate genuine curiosity and learn the art of the follow-up question. Instead of hijacking or interrogating, your goal is to be a conversational detective. When someone shares something, your first thought shouldn't be, how can I relate this to me? Or what's the next question on my list? It should be, what's the emotion behind that story? Your job is to find that emotion and explore it. So when they say, I just got back from a trip to the mountains, instead of hijacking, you ask a truly curious follow-up question. Not just, where did you go? But something deeper, like, that sounds amazing. What was the most unexpected moment of the whole trip? Or what's one memory from that trip you know you'll still be thinking about in 5 years? These kinds of questions are powerful because they can't be answered with a yes or no. They invite storytelling. They show that you're not just hearing the words, you're interested in the experience. You're giving them a gift, the gift of being truly seen and heard. This is the essence of charisma. It's not about being the most interesting person in the room. It's about being the most interested person in the room. When you make someone feel like their story matters, they will never find you invisible. You become a magnet for genuine connection. Pay attention to your next few conversations. Are you a hijacker, an interrogator, or are you a detective? Just this small shift in your verbal habits can fundamentally change how people feel when they're around you. Body language. Now we get to the silent conversation that's always happening beneath the surface. You can have the warmest facial expression and ask the most brilliant questions, but if your body language is sending a different message, people will always believe your body. This is the blind spot of incongruence. Congruence is when your verbal and nonverbal signals are aligned. They're telling the same story. When they're misaligned, it creates a sense of unease and distrust in the other person. Their subconscious brain picks up on the mixed signals and flags you as unpredictable or inauthentic. For example, you might say, I'm so excited about this new project, but your arms are crossed tightly over your chest, your shoulders are hunched, and you're leaning away. Your words say yes, but your body is screaming no. This conflict makes people deeply uncomfortable, even if they can't pinpoint why. They just know something feels off about you. This is a subtle way of making yourself invisible because people will subconsciously avoid what they don't trust. The most common nonverbal blind spots are often defensive or closed-off postures that we adopt out of habit, not intention. Crossing our arms is a classic. We might do it because we're cold or because it's just comfortable, but to others, it's a barrier. It signals psychological, emotional, and physical blocking. Another one is angling our body away from the person we're speaking to. Our words might be directed at them, but if our feet and torso are pointed towards the door, we are non-verbally communicating that we are looking for an escape. We're already halfway out of the conversation. People feel this. They feel that they don't have your full attention, that they aren't a priority. And so they disengage. They mirror your lack of investment. The conversation fizzles out and you're left wondering why you can't seem to hold anyone's attention. It's because your body checked out long before you did. Mastering congruent body language is about consciously choosing open and inviting postures. Think about the triple threat of charismatic nonverbals: an open torso, visible hands, and genuine eye contact. Keeping your torso unblocked by arms or a laptop or a purse signals that you are open to connection and have nothing to hide. This is a primal cue of safety. Keeping your hands visible and using them to gesture is also critical. Our brains are hardwired to pay special attention to hands. Are they holding a tool? A weapon? Hiding them in your pockets or behind your back creates a low-level sense of suspicion. When you use your hands to explain things, you not only appear more passionate and engaging, but you also build trust. And finally, eye contact. Not a creepy, unblinking stare, but what I call lingering eye contact. Holding someone's gaze for just a second or two longer than feels comfortable signals confidence and deep interest. The real key here is fronting. It's the simple act of pointing the top, middle, and bottom of your body towards the person you want to connect with. Your head, your torso, and your feet should all be oriented in their direction. This is the most powerful nonverbal signal you can send that says, I am 100% with you right now. You have my undivided attention. When you give someone the gift of your full attention through your body language, you make them feel incredibly important. You make them feel seen. And in a world full of distractions, that is an unforgettable feeling. It's the opposite of being invisible. It's being fully present, and that presence is magnetic. Start noticing your posture. Are you open or closed? Are you fronting or are you angled away? Your body is speaking for you. Make sure it's telling the story you want it to tell. Competence trap? This next blind spot is one of the most counterintuitive, and it ensnares so many smart, capable, and ambitious people. I call it the competence trap. We all want to be seen as competent. We want people to know we're good at our jobs, that we're intelligent, that we have valuable things to contribute. So we lead with our competence. In a meeting, we make sure to share the impressive data point. At a party, we talk about our recent professional success. We focus on proving our worth, our skill, our intelligence. But here's the problem. When you lead only with competence, you can come across as cold, intimidating, or even arrogant. People might respect you, but they won't connect with you. They see you as a brain, a resource, a competitor, not as a person. And so you become invisible on a human level. People will work with you, but they won't invite you to lunch. They'll ask for your expertise, but they won't ask how your weekend was. This is a lonely and isolating form of invisibility. Social psychologists have identified two primary axes on which we judge everyone we meet: warmth and competence. Warmth is about trustworthiness, friendliness, and kindness. Competence is about skill, intelligence, and power. We are constantly assessing people on both. The competence trap is when we over-index on proving our competence and completely neglect to signal warmth. We think that if we're just smart enough or successful enough, people will naturally be drawn to us. But the science shows the exact opposite is true. Unless you're in a life or death situation where you need the most competent surgeon, not the friendliest one, humans are neurologically wired to prioritize warmth over competence. Warmth answers the question, is this person a friend or a foe? Competence answers the question, can this person help or harm me? Our brain needs to know the answer to the first question before it even cares about the second. If you come across as cold, your competence can actually be perceived as a threat. Escaping the competence trap requires a fundamental shift in your approach to interactions. You have to intentionally lead with warmth. This doesn't mean you have to hide your intelligence or downplay your accomplishments. It just means you have to establish a foundation of human connection first, before you start building the skyscraper of your competence. How do you do this? It's about small, deliberate signals. It's starting a meeting by asking your colleagues about a fun part of their weekend before diving into the agenda. It's giving a genuine, warm smile to someone before you ask them for a favor. It's sharing a relatable, low-stakes vulnerability like, wow, I am so not a morning person. I really need this coffee to function. This little admission doesn't make you seem incompetent. It makes you seem human. It gives people an entry point for connection. Think of it this way. Warmth is the bridge that allows people to access your competence. Without that bridge, your competence is like an imposing, unapproachable castle on a remote island. People can admire it from afar, but they have no way of getting there, and they're not even sure they want to. When you lead with warmth, you're essentially lowering the drawbridge and inviting people in. You're signaling, I'm a safe and friendly person first, and I also happen to be very good at what I do. This combination is magnetic. It makes people not only respect you, but also trust you, like you, and want to be around you. So the next time you walk into a room, resist the urge to immediately prove how smart you are. Instead, make it your primary mission to signal warmth. Make eye contact, smile. Ask a personal question. Establish that human connection. It's the only way to ensure that your wonderful competence is seen as a gift, not a threat. Your vibe. We've arrived at the fifth and final blind spot, and it's the most powerful one because it underpins all the others. We've talked about your face, your words, your body, and your approach. But what about the invisible energy you carry into a room? What about your vibe? This isn't some mystical, unscientific concept. It's about a proven psychological phenomenon called emotional contagion. We are constantly and subconsciously sensing and absorbing the emotional states of the people around us. If you walk into a room feeling deeply anxious, insecure, and self-critical, you are broadcasting those feelings like a radio tower. People won't consciously know, oh, that person is feeling insecure. but they will feel a subtle sense of tension, unease, and awkwardness in your presence. They will feel your inner state, and it will make them want to pull away. This is the ultimate blind spot, because the very fear of being judged is what creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, making you invisible. Think about it. Before a party or a big meeting, what is your internal monologue like? For many of us, it's a stream of self-criticism and worry. I hope I don't say something stupid. What if no one talks to me? I feel so awkward. I don't belong here. You are marinating your brain in the stress hormone cortisol. You walk into the room with this tense, defensive, and fearful energy. Your shoulders are tight, your smile is strained, your eyes are darting around looking for threats. You are so trapped in your own head, so worried about your own performance, that you are incapable of being genuinely present and curious about anyone else. You're not sending out "connect with me" signals. You're sending out "I'm scared" signals. And that energy, that vibe, pushes people away. They might not know why, but they feel it. They sense the wall you've put up, and they respect it by keeping their distance. You've made yourself invisible because your inner world is screaming louder than any external action you try to take. This is why this blind spot sabotages everything else. You can memorize the best questions to ask and practice your open body language in the mirror. But if your internal state is one of anxiety and fear, it will leak out and override all your best efforts. The solution then isn't just about changing your behavior, it's about changing your state before the interaction even begins. This requires a pre-game ritual. It's about being intentional with the energy you bring into a space. Before you walk through that door, take 2 minutes for yourself. Go to the restroom, your car, or just stand outside. Close your eyes and take 3 deep, slow breaths. This simple act has a profound effect on your nervous system, pulling you out of the fight or flight response. Then, set a clear intention. Instead of a fear-based intention like, "I hope I don't mess up," choose a service-based intention like, "My goal tonight is to make 3 people feel truly heard," or "I want to learn something fascinating from someone new." This shift is monumental. It takes the focus off of you and your performance and places it onto others. It transforms you from a nervous performer into a curious host. Your energy shifts from needy and anxious to generous and calm. You can also use music. Create a playlist that makes you feel confident and happy, and listen to it on your way. Or try a power pose for a minute, standing tall with your chest out and hands on your hips. The research shows this can actually change your body chemistry to make you feel more confident. The specific tool doesn't matter as much as the principle. You have the power to choose your vibe. You don't have to be a victim of your own anxiety. By consciously managing your internal state, you change the silent, invisible signals you broadcast. You shift from a vibe of tension to one of warmth and presence. And that is the kind of energy that no one can ignore. It makes you not just visible, but truly radiant. True charisma isn't a personality trait you're born with. It is the result of awareness. It is the beautiful, powerful alignment of your internal intention with your external expression. It's about closing the gap between the warm, curious, and capable person you are on the inside and how the world actually perceives you on the outside. These blind spots are not life sentences. They are simply unlocked doors. By understanding them, you give yourself the key. You can choose to walk through them, to step out of the shadows of invisibility, and to finally allow yourself to be seen, heard, and truly connected with. Okay, be honest. Which of these blind spots felt like you were looking directly into a mirror? For me, it was number 4 for the longest time. Share yours in the comments.